What's up, Rockstars? Today I'm going to be talking about how I make money on YouTube, and I guarantee I'm going to be saying things that other people haven't told you. Thank you to my channel sponsor Into the AM. As a company that believes hard work and a great product is a proper way to conduct business, I am delighted to have them as part of the channel. They have some of the coolest graphic t-shirts around and an absolute best fit and feel that has continually exceeded my expectations. With new shirts arriving all the time and other products like boxers, hats, and even a monthly shirt club, I wholeheartedly recommend them to you. Check out the link in my description of this video for an exclusive 10% off everything they sell. Okay, so just as an FYI, I do have notes here, and I'm going to be talking about the normal stuff, stuff you probably have heard before, but then I'm going to end on stuff that you probably don't hear people talk about, but trust me, can easily pay double what you're getting otherwise. This is all spoken from just my experience, my point of view, how I'm doing my channel or not doing my channel, and just kind of how I see things, of course. So other YouTubers might say different things, but there's definitely a lot more than just, ad revenue and Patreon. So let's go ahead and discuss that. Now, the number one thing, and again, I'm starting with the normal stuff, is, of course, YouTube ad revenue. Now, I'm going to talk about YouTube Premium for a little bit here, but for the most part, it varies greatly. That's something you might not know. Just because channel A makes this much per 1,000 views doesn't mean that channel B makes that much for 1,000 views. And in fact, I won't get paid, nobody gets paid the same amount for each 1,000 views. Because YouTube, first of all, bases it on what ads are showing at the time, which can be different for different people, for different viewer sets, for different demographics. It's not just that video worldwide gets things. And it might do a big boost for the first 5,000 views, and then that ad is over and it's some other ad, or it's not an ad at all, and the next 5,000. So it can vary greatly. Additionally, they value you, the content creator, and the video you made differently per video, per person. So we all have kind of a personal number that ebbs and flows on how much per mil or per thousand that we get. That's MILLI, I believe. If you don't know, at least for me, around here, and again, it varies greatly. And of course, during Christmas time, you get more, right? Because there's more money being sold. And I'll explain how the ads work here in a moment, but I might get paid $20 for 6,000 views. I might get paid $50 for 6,000 views. It might be the same style video. It might be the same length of video with around the same stats, and still get paid almost double or half, depending on how you look at it. And a lot of that is because all you do as a content creator is set, hey, please put an ad here. And you say that so that it doesn't interrupt you in the middle of a sentence, or because you took a breath, but you were really just closing in on a thought. And it's like, oh, you can put an ad there. It'll auto try to do that, but you can easily just edit that out and be like, no, put one here, so that you can complete your statement and then do an ad or something like that. So you just say, hey, feel free to put an ad here. But then YouTube decides if they'll put an ad there, they might not, and what that ad is. So you don't really get that much of a choice on that. You can choose if they can skip it or not, and really that's about it. Otherwise, it's all up to them. Now, that also means that there's kind of this weird ebb and flow where if you have one slot in your video for an ad, and it's a highly sought after video that's doing quite well and matches whatever, demographic stuff the advertiser says, hey, put my ad in front of, they have to pay extra for that ad because it just goes to the highest bidder. The highest person that paid gets it. But you only have the one. Whereas let's say now you have 5 ad spots. Well, now obviously they're all worth less because it's easier to get in there because there's more, but there's 5 of them. So maybe that's better. Maybe it's not. It's a constant thing. You don't know. So you just kind of do whatever. I tend to do an ad slot every 10 minutes worth of content. It's typically what I do. Sometimes a little bit less, sometimes a little bit more, depending on if it's, it gets a little weird with the intro and outro. What if it's 23 minutes long kind of thing? Typically I'll just do one then, but maybe I'll do, an 8 and a 16 and then, so it just depends, right? But it kind of, whatever fits the video. But either way, that amount varies greatly. But as you can tell, it's not a lot. You can get 6,000 views and get $20. It's what do you freaking do? Maybe you get $50. Shoot, I can take the kids to McDonald's, dinner at McDonald's. And then after I'm done feeding my 4 freaking kids and their fat faces, they eat so much, guys, so much. Anyway, it's not a whole lot, but it does add up over time. Now, there was a concept of evergreen videos. And what that term means is a video that continues to gain views. In other words, I made the content and now it's almost passive income. That is something that, at least for my channel, I don't do. There's not a lot that I do there. Top 10s can kind of be that way sometimes, but I've never really seen that sort of success on there. There might be one like the top 10 things to, buy your nerd board game husband for Christmas or something like that. Maybe that works. I don't know. But for the most part, I report on news and current games. And that is what people are searching for, but it means that afterwards, they're not searching for it. Sorry, my screw's creaking. I need to fix it. Sorry. Maybe if I get some more enough ad revenue on this, I can do it. But no, like it gets its views and then it kind of dies off, and then it'll get just kind of a few people that are going through my backlog or something like that. So I don't really have evergreen, but you can do that as a channel and seek that evergreen content so that you're constantly adding to that pool that's then just slowly building up as people watch that plus your new stuff, right? So that's kind of the idea there. Clickbait means almost nothing. Let me explain why that is a red herring, a false narrative, whatever. I told you about how YouTube wants you to have people stick there. YouTube decides how much you're worth, and that varies greatly. For instance, I watch a gamer, like a video gamer, right? And he does YouTube content, and he showed like how much he made on like one video because people were like fussing about a sponsor or whatever. Anyway, he did that, and I realized that according to like at least my metrics, I wasn't making as much as him, but I would have had to get about a third of the views he did to get the same amount. Now, the reason that's the case, the reason he needs so many more views to make just as much as maybe I would do with a third of the views on average, if all things created equal, or, we're equal, is because they pay more for board game content than they do for video game content. Because YouTube's looking at its platform, its entire platform, and saying, how do we make YouTube the one-stop shop? How do we make YouTube better? And so they'll prioritize different aspects, and they deprioritize video games because they already have so many. They're not in need of more video game content. You might be a great creator, and you might have 1 million subs or plus that love you, and that's great. But at the end of the day, you're among many other 1 million plus sub YouTube video game people. So people who like video games already are coming to YouTube very often. So you're not drawing in too many new people. You're still valuable. You'll still get money, but they'll incentivize ones that are more niche, ones that are a little bit different, or that are bringing in a different category. And how they view you, how they categorize you, you have no idea. And in fact, Google doesn't either. It's all AI driven, and how those heuristic works are they're able to say, feed this info, and then they get something out and say, no, that's good or that's bad, and they try again. They don't directly control like every little aspect on this is good, this is bad. They don't have that on purpose so that it can just kind of run its thing. That's why people chase the meta so much, because the meta sometimes it likes orange on thumbnails, right? But the clickbait doesn't work without content. And what I mean by that is, unless you can't just make crap and put clickbait on there and get all the views. You could get all the views. Now, first of all, YouTube has ways of determining what a view is, and it specifically has a metric on how many people are watching after 30 seconds into your video. It even tells you that, and it counts that bounce rate where it's like, click, oh, this is what I want it back. So pure clickbait where it's like completely different obviously doesn't work. But even then, if you're not keeping people engaged, if people are not watching you, then you're going to get paid way less. You might get more views. While you can see the view number and you think that looks high, we can see how much we make, and they will not be getting as much as I would for the same amount of views because you guys are engaged and actively here. And engagement can be a like, it can be a dislike, it can be a comment, it can be an ad click, it can be a thumbnail click on the side, it can be a thumbnail click at the end of the video, it can be just that you went from there and then searched something else and didn't leave YouTube. As long as you're staying on YouTube, YouTube is happy, and it rewards the creator, the person on the video that made the video that kept you engaged long enough to watch something else and stay on YouTube to see another ad more. Which brings me to YouTube Premium. YouTube Premium actually is one of the highest ways you can get paid, even though it's the lowest percentage of people watching. Let me explain. Linus Tech Tips actually did what our top videos were, like the top videos they made financially. Right? What were those? And what he found out, I apologize for my chair. What he found out was that YouTube Premium and long videos were the key. And like 9 times out of 10, that's what it was. YouTube Premium was a huge amount. It's because YouTube Premium actually pays the creator for everything you watch based off how much you watch it. Again, because YouTube wants you to stay on YouTube. YouTube values that YouTuber more if you stayed on YouTube, right? Even though you're not seeing ads, because you're on the site, and YouTube likes that. And so it's saying, here's some money. Here's part of their $7.99 or whatever they charge for the YouTube Premium. It's amazing. It's a really good deal. And us creators love you premium guys. And it's nice. I mean, I'm a YouTube Premium person. I have anyways because I hate ads, and they bundled it at one point with their music stuff. So it was like super cheap, and I got the music for free, and it was a good deal. But it means every single person I watch, no matter how much I watch them, gets paid, which is kind of nice. But that's what that is, because YouTube values you to be there. So clickbait, where you click on it, oh, this is crap content, I don't want it, and you're out, gives them almost nothing. Even if you watch the ad, it's not that valuable, because you will get paid less for that ad than if they had sat through the whole thing. Even if they did the exact same thing and clicked on the ad and did all the same, YouTube will give you a higher percentage of the cut based off of, how long they watched. So you have to make content. The way you package that might give you more views if they count it as views, but those views do not go towards money. There is zero incentive there for that, except it makes people upset. Now, you want to make your thumbnail enticing, of course, so that people do click on it, but then enjoy the content. That's the key, is the content, though, at the end of the day. So that's number one. That's ad. Hopefully that explains ads and kind of how that works in a much more detail to you than perhaps what you've heard before. Patreon. Patreon, of course, is a big thing. It's usually not all profit, because a lot of times people run it as a store. They offer merch, or they're busy creating content behind the paywall, so they get like this exclusive content stuff. And so either way, they are investing either time, money, resources into the Patreon thing that then is essentially sold. A lot of times you'll get, little knickknacks or shirts or whatever, right? So it's kind of like running your own merch store almost for a lot of people. And that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But I don't tend to do that. Mine's pretty much just strictly donation, and then I give back when I can. So that's how I run it. And this is the video kind of covering that for me, but also explaining it to you. A lot of times, though, they'll do that, and they might hide the number, they might not, it doesn't really matter. Either way, hopefully, they're doing well in a bunch of things. The idea is you don't put all your eggs in one basket, right? Because if that basket dries up, right, if Logan Paul does some stupid thing online again, it ruins advertising for everybody, or, there's some crazy, like, gun stuff going on, like, you're okay because you still have Patreon, it's not just AdSense, right? And more on that as well. Now, a lot of people do merch, and I kind of mentioned that with Patreon. A lot of them do it through Patreon or otherwise. Merch is a way to do it. I do have some merch. I don't tend to make very much money off of it. It's no big deal for me. I'm just, I don't have time to invest in designing new shirts and promoting them and getting them out and kind of doing that side hustle as well. Maybe if I had a graphic artist I could work with, I could design some cool stuff. But it was just me, you get what you get, and it's a little tiny income on the side. Clickable links as well, Amazon, stuff like that. That can add very little. I mean, very, very little. It makes ads on YouTube look like a gold mine. Okay, so this is very sub. This is like a 1% kind of thing. So that's typically quite small on that, but you can get money that way. Now, there is direct paid sponsorships. Honestly, this is the big one, right? Because of a huge reason. First of all, they pay well. And by paying well, I mean, like, often you'll get at least a week's worth of ad revenue for that one sponsored video. And of course, everybody charges different things, of course, right? But either way, it's like, hey, that video, if you count the sponsorship, just made an entire week worth, right? Plus the ad revenue. We'll talk more about that and double dipping with sponsors in a little bit. But needless to say, it's another form of money that you can get. Then, of course, at least for me, there's a donation drive or just general donations outside of Patreon, like a direct donation thing. So some people do like Kickstarters, some people do GoFundMes. I do stuff on my own website where I kind of take in donations and then kind of send out kind of thank you gifts as, hey, thanks for doing that. And though it's very much a donation drive, and I've never spoken with anybody yet that acted as if it was something like, oh, I wanted this game or something like that. So that's good. For me anyway. But yeah, it's essentially a way to drive funds for the next season or the next year or, whatever. It's just another form of income. And honestly, that plus Patreon, at least for me, is the majority. Like that's a massive amount of the income. And it means it's community driven. And so I think that's super cool. Now let's talk about this stuff people don't tend to tell you. This is a little bit more nuanced, but it is highly highly profitable. And I know that there are some channels, and you can feel free to use your brain to figure these ones out, that make bank by doing this. And it's something that nobody really talks about here. Okay. So free product you don't have to give back. Number one thing. That is huge. That's massive. That is bukus. You can get so much money out of that. So first of all, you can make mini videos out of it. You got product, right? For free. So you're zero cost. You're starting at zero, right? And now you can do an unboxing. Or in fact, you can include it in a haul. So you have a haul or what's being added to your collection or any other number of things to add to that, right? And then you have the unboxing of it. And then you might have some gameplay of it. And then you might have a review of it. And then you might eventually get rid of it and cull it and get it out of your thing, all with zero cost to you. And you just got 5 videos at least out of that. That is huge. And of course, there's the long-term gain, which we'll talk about shortly. But that's really, really big. For me specifically, and again, I'm trying to be fair here, a lot of that's the donation drive. I get a lot of prototypes. I have nothing to do with these prototypes. You know, it's like, what could I do? They were causing an issue. My wife got fed up, was talking to my patrons about it a little bit, and they were like, well, why don't we give them away? It's like a little donation drive, a little raffle kind of thing where, people can donate and then we give them back or whatever. And that's kind of what we've been doing ever since. But I didn't pay for those prototypes. That's free product that then in a roundabout way, I'm getting money from using them. If nothing else, I got money from the review, and I got money from the unboxing, from the AdSense, from the patrons that grows, from the people that brings to my channel, right? So regardless, getting anything for free obviously is a way to make profit, and there are many ways to do that. Like I said, you can make videos, you can include them in there, you can do compares and contrasts, you can do this or that, you can do all sorts of things with that free product to make money off of it. It's a very valuable tool to use. Now, of course, there's the excuse of, you have to have the product to do those videos, and those videos can be helpful to you. So there's obviously a purpose to it. It's not like it's some weird gift that you got that doesn't really serve any other purpose. But, it's there, right? Exclusive early access, right? So exclusives are big. You'll see a lot of channels. I don't tend to do this. I've done it a few times though, where it's like exclusive and you put it in big and it's like, oh my gosh, you can only see it here. That drives people to you. And really it furthers that, kind of like what YouTube does with this thing, where it's like, hey, I want to see this. I go to YouTube to watch the video. That's where I go. It's the Amazon of, hey, I want to buy something. I go to Amazon and search for it. I don't just search for it online. I go to Amazon and search for it, right? Same kind of thing. Hey, this board game came out. I'm going to go to the King of Average. Because he always has this stuff here, and he always has the info right when I need it, and that's because I have that early access or that exclusive stuff. Additionally, it's not a zero-sum game completely. If you don't know what that means, it means that essentially, if I get this, then you don't, right? In other words, there's a finite amount, and we're all getting them, so any I get, you don't, right? When it comes to views. But in a way it is. And what I mean by that is, if I get a game early, and I'm able to unbox it, and I'm the first person to have that, every single person that ever searches that, once there's content, will see mine for the most part, depending on, preferences, and maybe they don't even speak my language and stuff like that. But you know what I'm saying? Like, either way, it's there all the time. It's also the first one, which means there are no other options. So that will boost that. And it means people will tend to come to me to see that because they know I have it available. And people will only watch so many unboxings. If they already watched my unboxing, how likely are they to then watch their unboxing or their unboxing? How many people watch 4, 5, 7 unboxings of the same game? Like, eventually you're going to say, I've seen them because these people had it early. Even though you have it late, I have no interest in seeing another unboxing of that game. So being early definitely helps. Exclusives, of course, help. That's pretty much straight up business, right? Is like, hey, not only am I have this information, but nobody else does, and I'm going to market that as something to see. Now, it can be non-malicious, right? In other words, you could be saying, hey, this is exclusive. You won't find this information anywhere. I have information that you don't have, and you might want to know that, right? It doesn't have to come from like a mean-spirited or malicious or ill-intended way, but at the end of the day, right, that drives business, that drives views, gives you that AdSense, grows your pool of potential patrons. All that stuff comes from that. So obviously that's big as well. Now, sponsor double dipping. This is huge. Let's say that you want to sponsor a board game. And so they're like, hey, we'll pay you. You'll do this. That's fine. But like I said, you could do many videos of that. So not only did you get sponsored for that, but then you're getting the ads in there that you probably added in as well. Plus maybe a new patron or two. Plus maybe you sold a shirt. Plus maybe then you can then do those other videos that aren't sponsored, even though you got it from the sponsored product, from the sponsored deal that paid you money for it, kind of thing, right? And I do the same thing. If I have a sponsorship, like with a shirt or something like that, it's not a board game, but you better believe you're still going to see ads in the video, because then I get ads, I get the sponsor, I get everything. So not only is that sponsor now a week's worth of payment or more, but on top of that, I still got the AdSense. I still had people that maybe will try some merch or be a potential patron or something like that. There's tons of ways to double dip where you can add a sponsor and still get all of that other funding. Every single other thing I mentioned, plus a sponsor on top, you can do. So that's obviously a big thing. And then of course, long-term growth. You can become the person that you go to for reviews or for this type of game or for this video series or whatever. And really it's just more of everything. The more you can get, the more you can output there, the more product you get, the more you can show off in this expensive hobby, the bigger you become because you're showing off more and more people are interested, more people are coming to you, and everything rises from that. So yeah, I think the big thing there is probably the whole video with the unboxing and the gameplay and the review and then the all of like a free product. That's a pretty big thing. Like I said, mine is unboxing, review. I don't do gameplay stuff and I don't do like hauls or culls, but I do a donation thing, and that's kind of the life of that free product, right? That's one way that I get money from that free product. Otherwise, it's just kind of normal straight up stuff, donations, patron, ads, stuff like that. Hopefully you learned something. If you have any questions though at all about anything, feel free to ask in the comments. I'll be down there. I'll be able to chat with you guys. I'm a fairly open book. I literally don't do, I'm very bad. I don't do my financials until I file taxes. So like I'd have to go look up numbers even, and I didn't bother doing that. So I apologize for that. But generally that I think 20 to 50 is probably about normal for me. And I don't know if it's exactly 6,000 or something like that. And that's just, again, the AdSense. It's not all the other stuff, right? You always try to diversify your how you're making money, and it all does add up. I just want to end this video with a thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for helping in any way that you have. And I appreciate all of you, of course. And again, if you have any questions, feel free to ask. All right, take care, guys.